You weigh 90 grams, not because something went wrong, not because you were born too early, because that is the normal weight of a newborn giant panda cub. Your mother weighs 100 kilograms. You are pink, blind, hairless, smaller than a lab rat. You fit entirely in the palm of a human hand, and not a large hand, the hand of an 8-year-old child. Outside, people traveled hours to see you. Researchers celebrated. Cameras were installed. You are, officially, one of the most celebrated animals on the planet. You don't know that. You only know two sounds, the faint cry coming from your own throat and the sound of your mother's body shifting. It is that second sound that will decide whether you survive the next week. You're about to find out that being born a panda is an evolutionary miscalculation. A species that should eat meat, but eats bamboo. A mother who loves you, but who can kill you without meaning to just by trying to hold you close. And the worst part? No one can do anything about it. You weigh 90 grams. Your mother weighs 100 kilograms. She's going to try to carry you in the next few minutes. If you were a human baby at that proportional size, your mother would have the build of an adult white rhinoceros trying to cradle you. Do you think you'd survive that? Tell me in the comments. And keep watching, because what comes next is worse. Fast forward a few million years. Panda ancestors were carnivores. They had teeth built to tear meat, a digestive system designed to absorb animal protein, and a metabolism that made sense for a predator. At some point, they migrated into bamboo forests. Bamboo was everywhere. It was abundant. It was easy to find. It was also almost completely useless as food. The giant panda's digestive system is still a carnivore's. It does not ferment bamboo like a cow. It does not extract cellulose like a horse. It simply pushes bamboo through the body while absorbing almost nothing. To compensate, an adult panda needs to eat between 12 and 38 kilograms of bamboo per day. 12 to 38 kilograms. Every day. Think of it as a full-time job. That is not an exaggeration. A panda spends between 10 and 16 hours a day chewing. No breaks, no days off, no alternative. That leaves very little energy for anything else. Not for running, not for hunting, not for defending territory aggressively. And here is the central problem of your existence, not for reproduction. Fast forward to before you existed. Your mother went into heat once a year. Once. The fertility window lasted between 24 and 72 hours, not 3 days of maybe. 3 days of now or never until next year. In the wild, finding a mate in that window is a logistical problem with no elegant solution. Giant pandas are solitary. They live scattered across forest fragments separated by farmland, roads, and cities. She found someone, or was helped to find someone, through a breeding program. The details don't matter. What matters is that you happened. And when you happened, she probably didn't know it yet. Panda gestation lasts between 95 and 160 days. That range is not scientific imprecision. It is because the embryo can enter diapause, suspended, not developing, for weeks, until environmental conditions seem right. Your body waited to start existing. And even then, you came out weighing 90 grams. Here's what happens in the first few hours. Your mother hears you. You emit a cry that sounds like a miniature duck. High-pitched, repetitive, impossible to ignore. She turns her body. She weighs, on average, between 70 and 125 kilograms. She picks you up. And that moment, which in any documentary looks like pure tenderness, is the most dangerous moment of your life so far. The giant panda has the smallest cub-to-mother weight ratio of any non-marsupial placental mammal on Earth. You represent less than 0.1% of her body weight. For comparison, a foal is born at roughly 10% of its mother's weight. A human newborn, around 5%. You are 0.09%. Imagine trying to hold an object you can barely feel between your fingers. Now imagine that if you squeeze just slightly too hard, it stops breathing. Your mother does not have that level of fine motor control. She carries you pressed against her chest with both front paws as she moves. If she rolls in her sleep, which she does, because she is a bear that weighs 100 kilograms and is exhausted from giving birth, you are underneath her. Panda cubs are crushed to death by their mothers, not rarely, frequently enough that zoos around the world have protocols for it. Cameras running 24 hours, keepers on standby, incubators ready. In the wild, there are no cameras. In the wild, there is you and her. Fast forward. 7 days. You made it. Your eyes are still closed, They will stay that way for another 5 to 8 weeks. You cannot regulate your own body temperature. You cannot urinate or defecate without your mother stimulating your abdomen by licking it. But you are alive. Your fur begins to come in. White first, then the black patches around the eyes, on the ears, on the legs. Your mother does not put you down. She carries you constantly. She almost stops eating. A nursing panda female needs more energy but eats less because she is occupied with caregiving. It is an equation that does not balance, and her body pays the price. You are growing. That is the false triumph. Stop. There is something that needs to be said right now. Giant pandas frequently produce twins. More often than most people realize, estimates suggest up to half of all pregnancies result in twins. But a panda can only raise one cub at a time. Not because she doesn't want to, because she doesn't have the physical capacity. Caring for 2 cubs that weigh 90 grams each, that require constant body contact, that cannot survive without maternal warmth, is impossible for an animal already operating at its energy limit. So she chooses one. The other is set aside. Not with violence, not with anger, simply placed to the side while she holds the first. In captivity, researchers run a rotation, swapping the cubs while the mother isn't looking, so she feeds both without knowing there are 2. It is an exercise in emotional logistics that requires 2 humans, a stopwatch, and a great deal of precision. In the wild, there is no rotation. If you are the second cub, your story ends here. If you are the first, keep watching. Fast forward 3 months. Your eyes are open. You have started to crawl. You now weigh around 5 kilograms, 50 times what you were at birth. You will nurse until you are 8 or 9 months old. Your mother produces milk with extremely high fat content to compensate for the short duration of each feeding session, because she never sets you down long enough for a long one. At 6 months, you try bamboo for the first time. Not because you want to, because your digestive system, the carnivore's digestive system you inherited from your ancestors, is receiving bamboo for the first time and does not quite know what to do with it. You will learn. You will spend the rest of your life learning. Fast forward 18 months. Your mother will go into heat again. When that happens, you will be pushed away. Not gradually, not with a transition period. She will stop accepting you, will move away, will mark territory in ways that communicate clearly. The partnership is over. You are 18 months old. You do not know how to hunt because pandas do not hunt. You know how to eat bamboo, but you are still learning which species, which parts, in which season. You know how to climb trees, which will save your life a few times. Now, you are alone, for good. Giant pandas are solitary by design. You will spend the next decade without consistent company. You will mark territory with scent. You will avoid other pandas. You will feed in silence for 10 to 16 hours a day, every day, until the bamboo runs out or the forest shrinks. And the forest will shrink. Today, giant pandas live in forest fragments in the mountains of Sichuan, Shanxi, and Gansu in China. Fewer than 1,900 individuals remain in the wild. Each forest fragment is separated from the next by human development. You live on an island surrounded by a world that was not built for you. Fast forward 10 years. You are an adult. You weigh 90 kilograms. You spend a third of your life sleeping to conserve energy. You are not sick. You are not being attacked. But the bamboo has flowered. This is a problem most animals never face. Some bamboo species flower synchronously. The entire species blooms at once, produces seeds, and then dies. The entire species. At the same time. In a fragmented forest, that means your food source disappears from an entire region for a period that can last years, until new shoots grow back. In continuous forests, pandas historically migrated to another zone with a different bamboo species. But you live on an island. There is nowhere to go. Your body begins drawing on reserves that barely exist. You do not have the fat stores of a bear that hibernated. You do not have the metabolism of an animal that eats protein. You have bamboo. And now you don't even have that. Somewhere, in a forest in the mountains of Sichuan, a high-pitched cry cuts through the silence. It sounds like a duck, a miniature one. 100-kilogram female stops. She turns her body. She picks up the cub with both front paws. It weighs 90 grams. The cycle begins again. There are fewer than 1,900 giant pandas left in the wild today. The species moved from endangered to vulnerable in 2016, but the distance between those two categories is more fragile than it sounds. Every cub represents a bet that biology should not allow, an animal poorly adapted to its own diet, with reproduction that cannot be scaled, in a habitat that shrinks a little more each year. You lived all of that, and you got the best possible outcome. Life as a giant panda can be absurd, but there is an animal out there that doesn't even have the luck of being born in a forest. It is born inside another animal, and it eats very carefully, so it doesn't kill the host before the right moment. Trust me, it is much worse, Shay.